Sweat the small stuff. The small stuff is where it happens. We would all show up for each other in the big stuff. Sweat the small stuff. Talk about the small stuff. Bring up the small stuff.
Welcome to Love Stories, a relationship podcast for successful women, where we talk about love, dating, relationships, and how great love stories are made. Whether you're searching for the one, you're madly in love, or simply curious about romantic relationships, this podcast is for you. I'm Charlene Byars. Each week, you'll hear from women, couples, and experts, and all the ins and outs on how to create your own love story. I am so passionate about this subject, and I'm so excited to share all the things that you can apply to create a beautiful love story of your own. Cheers to great love. Welcome back to the Love Stories podcast. I'm your host, Charlene Byars. Well, hello. Happy new week. Okay. I recently mentioned that we have a few more spots opening for one-on-one coaching this year and during the holiday season. And if you are single, I just want to let you know this is absolutely one of the best times to gift yourself one-on-one coaching. It's a perfect time for you to get ready for love. So if there's something that you're interested in, I absolutely recommend that you book a love breakthrough call with me. This is a very special call because I highly personalize the session for those ready to choose themselves and embark on a journey to emotional freedom and self-discovery and map out a path to love with your romantic best friend. So if this sounds amazing, please make sure that you book a call, and I will leave the link in the show notes, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you. Let's talk about the tip of the week, which is how to date like the prize that you are. Okay, ladies, here's a question. Do you date like you are the prize? Because if not, I highly suggest you start. And the tips that I'm about to tell you will help you not only date with discernment, but they will help you also stand out in the crowd. So here we go. 1, name your availability. When he asks you out, give him no more than 2 daytime options. Even if your schedule is wide open, he should work around your schedule, not the other way around. 2, show up 10 minutes late. The name of the game is building anticipation and letting him sit with his thoughts as he waits on you will build up that grand entrance. 3, allow him to lead. If he offers to get up and do something for you, or walk you to your car at the end of the date, or order you another cup of coffee, let him. It triggers his happiness when he can serve you. It's important to be very intentional when you are dating and getting to know different men. And remember, you are the prize and you are worthy of great love. I am thrilled to welcome my next guest to the show today, Lisa McFarland. Lisa McFarland is from the UK and is Ireland's leading relationship coach. She's also a wife and mother of 3 almost grown-up children. Her mission is to educate people on how to have great relationships and take away the shame and the guilt of asking for help and guidance. She says, we educate ourselves on everything else in life, but when it comes to relationships, we're just winging it. And I believe that we can do much better with the right tips and the tools. One of the biggest takeaways from my conversation with Lisa, and there were so many, was that great relationships take time. They take effort, and there are tips and tools that all of us can apply to enhance our relationships with the people we love. And I love that it doesn't matter how long you've been with someone, things can actually change and things can get better if 2 people are willing to look inwards and do the work and learn some new skills. With no further ado, Lisa McFarland. Hello, cool is this? You're here from what? From the UK, aren't you?
Just Northern Ireland, yeah. Very
Oh,
excited.
that's
Thank you so much for having me.
fantastic. I was so excited to have you. Seriously. I know that, with the work you're doing as a relationship coach and all the relationships that you're helping. And I know I'm just like, can't wait to have Lisa on this show. So, first of all, thank you for being here.
No problem at all. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thank you so much. Lisa, so I was thinking about something. I wanted to start out. I was thinking about a question I wanted to ask you first. We're gonna have a great discussion today, but as a relationship coach, and I know that you help a lot of couples and stuff, and I noticed the majority of us, like truly the majority of us, really long to have a great relationship. A great relationship with our significant other,
Mhm.
and but it's often not that way. It's often not that way. What do you find is one of the most common misconceptions or the things that are really kind of holding people back from
Mhm.
having a really great romantic relationship, Lisa?
I would say people have unhealthy conflict, so they don't know how to do conflict well. And I say all the time, even if we grew up in the best households with the best mums and dads, or mums and mums, or dads and dads, um, we very unlikely that we saw healthy conflict.
Yes.
Okay. So we just do not know how to do it. And what we do is we carry the conflict style we saw at home into our relationships. So for me particularly, I used stonewalling, so the silent treatment in
Oh,
my
okay.
so that's how I dealt with conflict. I would say all my words, and then when I didn't feel heard, or I deemed that I wasn't heard, then I would shut down. So that is a toxic behavior, and we should not be doing that in our
No.
relationships. And when I discovered that I was not allowed to do it anymore, and my therapist told me I wasn't allowed to do it anymore, I gave her the silent treatment for the rest of the session.
Oh my goodness. Lisa, how common is that? Like when we start looking at ourselves, it's challenging, isn't it?
Especially because we went to therapy for her to fix my husband, clearly.
Is that what you notice a lot of times? I really feel that wow, that's really interesting that you said that.
Yeah.
Because I was married before. I'm remarried now to my husband. But with my ex-husband, I absolutely, looking back now, I mean, I had no idea, Lisa, either, but, like, I wanted to have a great relationship, but that's interesting that you said the conflict thing. Because now looking back, I definitely did not know how to show up and have healthy conflict, and
Mhm.
I was a very explosive, firecracker, I'm gonna
Mhm.
call myself that,
Mhm.
and I really felt that at the time, Lisa, it was the guy. Like, we did the same thing. I'm taking the guy to counseling.
Totally justified behavior, in my opinion.
Totally. Like, I was like, "No, well, if only he does this and does that, I wouldn't get so upset."
Been there.
Been there, and I think it was hard for me too, again, interestingly enough, hindsight is, hindsight, like, life goes on, right? But now that I can look back and I can reflect back, "Oh, Lisa."
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Well, I did
Yes.
it for 24 years. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't have things to learn as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I'm going to say that mine were definitely ugh, deeper cut. Let's just put it like that.
Deeper
Yeah.
cut.
Deeper
Okay.
cut. So people come to me because, and they say things like we have poor communication, which
Okay.
means they have bad arguments, which means that they're not hearing each other, and they're saying things like, well, I'm sorry you feel like that. That's totally dismissive. We're not allowed to say that. Their partner, them or their partners may be having a hard time taking responsibility, and we know that the four horsemen of the apocalypse from the Gothmans is criticism, contempt, stonewalling, defensiveness. And defensiveness is huge in relationships. So we have a breakdown in communication. We aren't using healthy conflict. Therefore, we're not feeling seen or heard or celebrated in our relationships. And then our sex life starts to dwindle because for women, resentment kills your libido, and for men, stress kills your libido. So now
Oh, that's so good. Ooh, can you say that again, actually? That's really important to hear.
So for women, resentment is the biggest killer of libido. This is not me. This is somebody researches these things,
Yes.
and
Yeah, no, this is you're talking with your professionalism.
yeah,
Yeah, I got you.
I believe it was Esther Perel. I think it's in Esther Perel's book, Mating in Captivity. And for men, it is stress.
Okay.
So resentment can be having to say 15 times, "Can you take the bins out?" Resentment might be that your partner's always late. Resentment might be, we have a term here, we call it the mental load. Do you know what that
No,
would be the
what
same?
is that? Explain that.
So the mental load we would talk about is that, especially if there's children involved, maybe the mum is carrying the biggest mental load. So she's the one who is organizing school trips. She's the one who is doing the dentist appointments. She's just carrying the mental load. She's doing
She's
the
carrying
cooking.
all the things. Okay, yeah, I got it.
And we're trying to work at the same time. So if women are carrying too much of the mental load, that will build resentment and they will not want to have sex with their partner. So now we're in a stage now we're not having sex for weeks on end. And we also know from the data that sex and intimacy and that connection, let me think, makes our person less annoying.
Mm,
Okay. So when
yes.
we have a good sex life, our body releases lovely chemicals that tell us that our person isn't actually as annoying as they are.
Wow. So it's layers here then. It like one that's fascinating because look at how you just started from the beginning. Like, it starts out like if we have that type of, the resentment or the poor communication, how that truly starts affecting all the areas in the relationship.
Yep. Yep.
Because then, like you said, you don't feel safe, the man doesn't feel he's feeling the stress, he doesn't feel so have you noticed this then? This is what I love this conversation already. So you can have a couple that the love is there and that they love each other and they have that, but the the communication, the conflict, all these things start happening. So I want people to hear this. You can be in a relationship and it could be, your partner could be the right partner for you,
Mhm.
but because of life and the reality is like what Lisa just said, we're not taught
It's our
how.
programming. It's our programming.
Okay, talk
The
about
way
that.
we're programmed to show up in our relationships comes from our upbringing, our worldview, and our previous relationships. And I believe it was Einstein that said that repeating and repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome is the first sign of insanity. But
Yes.
in relationships, we just have the same argument over and over again. But one of these times it's going to work. I used stonewalling for 24 years. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. Don't waste 24 years, pick a different way. And we do this in other walks of life. So if we have a work colleague,
Okay.
we seem to think, like, the way I'm saying this to them is not really working. The way that I'm dealing with this person is not really getting me what I want. What do? We pivot, we change. We'll use a different management style, we'll use a different communication style. Oh, no, no, but not in relationships.
Not in relationships.
No,
Oh, no.
banging that same drum, and they should change.
Why is this? Why do we do this?
Well, I say to people all the time, I say to people, I have some lovely young couples who come to me and they're like, "Oh, Lisa, but we love each other." And my thing that I would advertise myself as is I always say, please don't wait until the wheels fall off. Come and get the tips and tools and the education at the start or as soon as you see a little bit of disconnection. Okay. So that's what my people would come to me. That's how I promote myself. But they'll come and they'll say, Lisa, we love each other so much, but we just, and why do we do this? And why do we do that? And I'll say, look, here's the thing. You two have signed up for a job with no job description at all and no training on how to do it. Would you like me to give you a job description? And would you like me to train you in the actual job that you've signed up for? And they're like, yes, please, Lisa.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. One of the things I do say often, Lisa, like I literally say this often, and it's like you right now just saying it again too, is that we are not taught relationships. We are not taught men, we are not taught women, and we are not taught the dynamics
Mhm.
of a man and a woman in love. But then now, we're sharing life together, we're doing life together, and we have all the other moving parts.
And let's put on another layer
Okay.
that you and I are probably the first generation to be working as much as we do,
Okay.
running the house, raising children. When I think back to my grandmother who had to get married because there was you couldn't work, there was nothing to do. My own mother worked part-time. The children came first, the house came first. I remember going out one day for lunch with my mum, and before she went out, she left the saucepan, a
Yes.
tin of soup, the loaf of bread, and the butter for my dad. It was like, I mean, we're the first generation, really, if
Yes.
the second, to really be doing this. And that's the same for our men as well. They're the first generation to be supporting us like this. And that's back to, we don't know what the job description is. It's a totally different job description.
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point. So what do you say then, like when, you are really trying to, like when the couples are coming to you, what is one of the first tips or realization or something that you give them in the beginning so they can have so they can like, okay, this is good. Because that's already very powerful of what you just said, of the realization of what really happens to us. Okay.
Mhm.
So what do
So
you
that's what I would do. All
Mhm.
that, just what I told you there. And then I would say, the next thing I want you to do is, I want you to promise me that you will not react to each other from an activated nervous system. And I want you to try and figure out when that nervous system becomes activated. There's a wonderful guy, his name is Terry Real,
Okay.
American guy, and he talks about when we argue from an activated nervous system, it's like our 12-year-old selves are just having a wee party over here, and our grown
Oh,
selves could just go over here and have a beer. So our grown-up selves just go over here and have a of a beer and watch the 12-year-old selves have at it. Lots of words like, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Well, if you had done that, then you wouldn't have did it. And what
yes.
we also do in arguments then is, instead of just dealing with the argument, we I call it, we throw the kitchen sink over each other.
Yes.
Where,
Yes.
what, last year actually what you did also, see, last year what you did, it was exactly the same. And actually, when we were dating, when we were dating, that time you forgot to pick me up when we were dating, you know, unhealthy, unhealthy, unhealthy,
Oh,
unhealthy.
I'm definitely, I'm raising my hand up here. Have I done that? Oh my goodness. Yes, I have. It is like, and I feel like, oh my goodness. And Lisa, I have been in those situations. Like once I'm in it, it is like, I'm like, the world can stop and I'm still in it. Like I can't see myself in the moment. And
Well,
I bring, yes,
we have data now that says that they put the things on people's brains, that
yes,
actually when your nervous system is activated, just like you said, you can't actually hear the person. You
no,
can't actually. It's your fight and flight or freeze is on, and your frontal cortex is off. I've also decided that I might be Jesus, and I tell stories and parables now.
yeah.
Um, Definitely not Jesus. Um, but I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this funny story.
Okay.
So about a year and a half ago, I decided to get my teeth straightened, and we have this thing in this country. It's called Invisalign, so it's meant to be like invisible, but
Yeah, we have that too.
you
Yes, yes, yeah,
can't see it. Like, but anyway,
yeah,
they
yeah.
take you into this. So anyway, so my teeth were becoming. I felt my teeth were becoming very straight. I was seeing a real difference, and I came into this very room, and I
Okay.
said to my husband, who is a lovely man,
Yeah.
look at my teeth. Aren't they really looking great? Now, my love language is words of affirmation
Okay.
and time. I've been with my husband 34 years. He knows my love language is words of affirmation. But yet he said this, let me see them. And I did this fake smile
You did
thing
the
and
big
said,
smile.
I can see no difference at all. Then he looked to our grown up children and he said to them, can you see any difference? Oh, it gets worse. Don't you worry. It gets worse before it gets better. And they said, Mummy. Yeah, totally. They're looking great. Brilliant, Mummy. And I was like, thank you, girls. And then he said, how much is this costing?
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
Now, we've all been here. And
100%.
I've done the same to him. You know, what are you talking about? That didn't happen. We've all done this. We've all used the
Yes.
word, we've all been dismissive, okay?
Yes.
We're
Yes.
nice people. We've just done silly things sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Now, Charlene, if I tell you that my nervous system was activated,
Oh, I
not
bet
messing.
it was.
I'm like Avengers online here. I'm off. Okay. Now, back in the day, before I paid people lots of money to fix me, I would have been. I didn't shout, but I would have been talk, how dare you? That's a terrible thing to say. And why would you say that in front of the children? I can't believe you can't even see any difference. All the things.
Okay. That was Lisa back then.
That was, they said, pre-therapy.
Okay, pre-therapy. Okay.
Pre the work. And then he would have said something that would not have peacified me at all because my nervous system was activated. It wouldn't matter if he had said, wouldn't matter what he would have said. Okay. I just wouldn't have heard it. And then I would have shut down and give him the silent treatment for days.
Days.
Oh, days. Yeah, it was really good.
Okay, you're really good at that. Yeah, you were like, I was a professional.
And I really do miss it. It's terrible.
We got to do the adulting stuff now, right? You know,
so boring. So anyway,
yeah.
So
okay,
I teach my couples. When that was said, I'm activated, and I know where that feels. That is in my chest, and I'm about to vomit it all over him. Okay.
Yes.
He has no clues even upset me.
No, he's not thinking he's doing anything wrong.
He's away off to make the dinner.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just being honest with her.
She asked a question, and I give her the answer. So now I have taken myself to the utility room because it is the hardest of emotions in our house. And I go there, and I know I have to get my nervous system regulated. Okay. And I personally use box breathing.
Okay.
So we make a little box with our finger like this, and we breathe in and we breathe out and we hold. Okay. Because once we're doing this, we're back online here. We're back online.
Okay. So hold on, Lisa. Hold on. Before you go in the room and before you go in the bathroom and then you started doing the box breathing and you told us what you would have done before. So in that this is good. In that actual moment when you felt the body like, I'm about to lose my mind right now. I'm going to go a little crazy. I'm going to pause. And then you physically removed. You didn't say anything to the guy? Oh, this is good. Okay. So you don't say anything to the guy and you physically remove yourself. And you go into like a little quiet space.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. What happens?
And if you were in an argument, if you were in a discussion and it was bit back and forward,
yeah.
I would say something like lasagna, burnt toast, trees, and have a key word.
Yes.
That you can then, and it's your secret word for I need to go and regulate myself.
Okay, I need a moment. Like it's as bad as it gets. And pineapple.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why I'm doing pineapple, but that sounds good.
Yeah, be careful with pineapple because it has a whole different thing. But anyway, that's fine. We'll talk about that some other day, Charlene.
Okay. Let's come back.
So he has no idea. He's just busy doing his stuff.
Busy. So you're in the room now. You're in the bathroom.
I'm in the little bathroom.
Okay.
And I can get my nervous system regulated very quickly now. It used to take me a long time. Get my nervous system regulated very quickly now. And I would have to say that the biggest thing for me when it comes to behavioral change would be meditation.
Okay.
And really getting that mindfulness, really figuring out that your thoughts lie to you sometimes.
Yes.
And they're just thoughts and you have to just let them pass and we don't have to attach an emotion onto them.
Beautiful. You know what I call those thoughts? You ready?
What?
You're going to love it. Because those thoughts, exactly what you just said is 100% true. So this is what I call those thoughts. The itty bitty shitty committee.
Exactly. Well, I call mine Shirley. So I'm now in this little room.
Okay, you're in the room. Yep.
Nobody's even noticed. Nobody cares. Because, right now this is the world has stopped spinning. But actually, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
So got the nervous system under control. The way I explain it to myself and to my people is we've got a volcano here. Okay. And the lava is what I used to spit and spew and perform. Okay. But in this underneath this volcano, in this volcano, are our I feel words. Okay. So once we get the nervous system back online, so literally the computer's back online now, I ask myself, what am I feeling? What are the feelings that I'm feeling that are activating me here? Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I feel hurt.
Mhm.
I feel sad. I feel disrespected. I feel unseen. And I feel undermined. Now, personally, for me, when undermined comes up, I have to have a wee look because it's a childhood wound for me. Okay.
Okay.
So when undermined comes up, there could be a chance that I'm slightly overreacting.
Mm.
A slight chance. Now, we're not going to go mental here. A slight chance I could be overreacting.
Okay.
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 So now we're all back online. I come to my husband and I say, sweetheart, something's happened and I need a safe place to land.
That just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Oh,
My computer.
goosies. A
I need a safe place
safe
to
place. Oh, let's slow this down. This is really good.
I need to get my
Also,
charger.
okay, get it. Oh, this is good, girlfriend. Oh, look. Oh, are
I
you guys listening to this? She's
sorry.
literally
Just
giving
also,
us framework
yeah.
on how to calm yourself down, which is the nervous system,
Mhm.
to be able to, you know,
Come to
go
your
have
partner.
a conversation with your significant other so we're not going into these back and forth fighting, all the things. Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening.
So, sweetheart, I need to talk to you about something. I need a safe place to land. Now,
Mhm.
that is my partner's cue for get your superhero cape on. She's coming in hot.
You guys are adorable.
Okay.
This is so good.
My
Okay.
husband also likes to make fun of me a lot, as most men do, and
Yes.
he calls it a soft place to land. I'm like, sweetheart, if that's what you need, if that's works for you, that's fine. He also calls Tony Robbins Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk.
I think both would be probably impressed, but anyway, here we are.
You're like, we'll do it.
So
Okay. Yeah.
when you come to your person and you
Okay.
say, I need a safe place to land or a soft place to land, whatever one works for you, and your person says, can I finish these emails? Can we get the kids to bed? Can I? Yes, they absolutely can. Okay. Because you want your person coming to you as their best self.
Okay. Okay.
Right. In this moment, he was like, yes, babe. Right. That's fine. No problem. Cup of tea, coffee, whatever. He says the secret. This is the secret sauce. Okay.
Okay. Here you go. You guys, she's telling us the secret sauce.
Sweetheart, when that situation happened with my teeth, not when you were a bleep, 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 bleep head and you said that about my teeth, not that. Okay. So when that situation happened about my teeth, respect, kindness. Yeah. When that situation happened about my teeth, I felt sad, a bit unseen, disrespected, and a wee bit undermined in front of the kids. And he says, I'm so sorry, babe. I never meant to hurt you.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
He does not say, I'm sorry, you feel like that. Taking the word you out of our vocabulary when it comes to conflict is a game changer.
Oh, that's good, Lisa.
Now, I am an anxious attachment. When it comes to, I'm a secure person, but when it comes to conflict, I'm anxious attachment style.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is a secure person, but when it comes to conflict, he is an avoidant attachment style.
Mm-hmm.
Every part of my anxious attachment style wanted to then say, but why did you say it? Do you think you'll say it again? When do you think you'll see my teeth? We
Yes.
don't,
Yes.
we don't need that. That's our 12-year-old child showing up again, needing reassurance from a parent. Okay? He said he's sorry. He's taken responsibility. Now we just get on with the rest of the day. We have a little kiss and a hug and we get on with the rest of the day because we love each other.
Because you love each other and you want to have that kindness and respect for one another. And
Mhm.
if we don't take a moment, like you just literally, like the exercise that you said, we just go off to the races, don't we?
Often. Now, I would love to tell you I'm that good, but that evening we were on the couch watching a
Mm-hmm.
movie
Mm-hmm.
and I said, sweetheart, do you really not see any difference in my teeth?
Mm.
And he said, babe, I loved your teeth before. I love your teeth now. If you're happy, I'm happy. You know? But we never would have got to that sort of resolution and nice conversation about it if I'd have been stonewalling for 3 days.
Yeah, because you would have, like you said before, you would have completely just blah, and then silent treatment. And then you know what's interesting about that too, and I noticed that when we do the silent treatment, right? We're actually hurting ourselves. It's
Don't
the
know how to get
worst.
back. We've got ourselves so stuck in. Now, people say to me sometimes, Lisa, is that not the silent treatment? I'm like, no, that's giving yourself 10 minutes to get regulated.
Correct.
You also might have to say, look, something's happened today. I am a wee bit upset about it, but look, I'm going to sleep on it because I'm just actually exhausted. Worst piece of advice I ever got was don't go to sleep in an argument. Horrendous advice. We do not have directors' meetings at 11 o'clock at night. We're
Correct.
not our best self.
No.
When we were, I mean, it's evening time here. Even when we were talking about doing this, I was like, oh, Charlene, no, I couldn't do 9 o'clock because I'm not going to be my best self by 9 o'clock, So we don't do directors' meetings. We certainly don't need to waken our partner up at 1 o'clock in the morning to make sure we've got our point across. Definitely not. I may have done that as well, Charlene.
Oh, Lisa, I was one of those.
Mhm.
In the middle of the night, I would be like, "Why did
Mhm.
you say, like," and he's the poor guy's literally asleep. "Why
Mhm.
did you say blah, 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 blah?" And then I'm mad that
Yeah.
he's not, like, now, having a great conversation with me because he's
Or
half asleep.
mad that they're sleeping.
Yes.
Done that too. Yeah. So it is okay to say, I love you. I'm a bit upset about this thing right now, but I think it was Glennon Doyle actually said, I think 80% of arguments could be stopped if we all just had our dinner and went to sleep, you know? So sleep on it. My other thing about the birthday, sweat the small stuff. The small stuff is where it happens. We would all show up for each other in the big stuff. Sweat the small stuff.
Oh, that's
Talk
good,
about the
Lisa.
small stuff. Bring up the small stuff. I would recommend to my couples have a check in on a Friday night. Have I upset you this week? Have I hurt you this week? Is there something that we were too busy with the kids that we didn't get time to discuss? Things like that. What's been our successes this week? What have we done well this week? Where have we met each other's needs really well this week? All that sort of stuff is like um it's like what we do in work when we're the manager, we're checking in with our employees or we're checking with other managers. Are you happy at your work? All that sort of stuff that we're taking from sort of the professional and we're bringing it into our romantic relationships because it's really healthy. It's really, really
Really
healthy.
healthy. And you know what I love, Lisa? You mentioned that I'm going to take you back because you mentioned that you've been married for 34 years.
We've been with
And
my husband 34 years. We've been married. I'm really hoping
well,
this goes.
together, you've been together for 34 years. Yeah. So a total 34 years. And you've been together 34 years. And you just mentioned that like even last year, you already did work prior to that. And last year, and I'm sure you have so many more stories. It didn't even matter how long you guys were married, you were still able to do the work
Yeah.
and start, changing your ways. And
Yeah.
so let's go back, Lisa. So
Yeah.
you've been married and now you are in a place with your husband now that you have learned, and I'm sure he has learned a different way. Like you guys have, leveled up the relationship, right? And I'm sure you guys have, loved each other and had love, but you had something for so many years that you didn't have this healthy, conflict resolution. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
have these tools. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that's why you're doing what you're doing now because you were able to apply it yourself. Okay. So Lisa, so let's talk about how actually, like, take me back when you were a little girl. How did you grow up,
Mm-hmm.
mama? How did you grow up?
I'm a minister's daughter.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm a minister and I'm the youngest, and my brother and sister are a lot older than me. So it was just sort of me and my mum and dad. And I have to say, I'm one of those kids that I really had a very pleasant childhood. I mean, I grew up in Northern Ireland, so there was a lot of turmoil in our country at that time.
Okay.
I have to say that my parents made me feel very, very special. I was a very, yeah, I mean, there was, I was a child and got into a bit of trouble now and then.
Yes, 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 of
But
course.
just with it being the last little, I think I may have been a mistake. But it was just, and my brother and sister were older, so they had time for me. Like, it was
So
good.
you were the baby. You were kind of spoiled, you
I
know?
was a
They
baby. My mummy always says she's spoiled, but she's not spoilt. So I would have
Okay.
been spoilt with attention and but not spoiled. Like I wasn't allowed to be a brat and like I knew how to behave. And my mum and dad, they always said we could take Lisa anywhere. We could just take Lisa anywhere. And then teenager came, and I was a typical minister's
Typical
boy.
teenager. Yeah, you typical teenager. What was, your parents' relationship like? Were you able to see them, have, healthy conflict, not healthy conflict? Did they
Mm-mm.
hide that from you? Were they emotionally available? Like, what was their dynamics like?
So my dad was very busy.
Okay.
They were busy, and my mum was a stay-home mum. Always sort of had little part-time jobs. Had a
Mm,
shop at one stage, and but it was always there for us. But my mum she was a very powerful woman. She was very capable, very strong. And I remember one night hearing them argue. My parents wouldn't argue very often.
okay.
It wasn't like I grew up, but I remember one night hearing them argue, and it must have been something about my dad not being around.
Okay.
And she said to him, "I don't care that you're at Bible study. You might as well be at the pub. You're just not here."
That's good. Wow, she was direct. Good for
She was
her.
It was, yeah, she took, no, yeah, so she was strong. She was strong. They had a good relationship. My dad generally was very easygoing.
Okay.
I would say looking back now as an adult, I would say that my dad's job was very stressful. We didn't even know like that word in the
Yeah,
70s.
yeah, you didn't know.
Stressful.
We didn't know. Did we even say no, we didn't.
No, we didn't. I
No, we
mean,
just got it done.
my dad's dad. So the shipyard here, where the Titanic and everything was
Mhm,
built, the
mhm.
Belfast shipyard. It's like my dad's dad was working there from he was 14 until he was 65. I mean, anything else you did was not stressful. Like, I mean, that was work. Everything else. So probably looking back now, that was a bit stressful for my dad. He just didn't even know how to say it.
Yeah,
And I probably would have said that would have affected his mood, and he would have withdrawn a little bit.
yep.
Didn't really notice his kids, but I would remember more as a teenager, my mum complaining about that, like, my dad, that sort of thing. But generally, it was grand. It
But
was
then it
grand.
was grand. That's fantastic. Okay.
It
And
was good.
how did that play a role in you when you started, like, really liking the boys? Like, were you a boy crazy or were you like, "Nope, not so much?"
Yeah, no, I was typical minister's daughter, teenager, pretty much
Okay,
typical. Yeah. Um, I'd say the biggest mistake my parents made was I was not a very academic child.
okay.
So I didn't get on very well at school. So I'd say the biggest mistake my parents made would be things like Lisa doesn't do well at school, or Lisa's not very academic. And my brother and sister were both more academic than me. And
Okay.
then they would also say things like, "Oh, don't worry, Lisa will find a good man to look after her." Just things like that. That now looking
Kinda a
back,
little programming looking back. You're like, "Oh, okay." You obviously, at the time, you're not thinking anything.
and what did we say that my trigger was? Undermining. So if I feel undermined,
Oh.
that's where that comes from.
Yeah, that's where that comes from. Okay. So now you grow up in this pretty healthy, lifestyle, and you did have your little, liking your boys. How old were you, Lisa, when you had your first like real boyfriend?
Real boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. We have
Okay.
this game here. It's called, maybe you guys have it. It's called Spin the Bottle. Do you know what this
Yes.
game
Yes, we
is?
have it. Yeah.
So I think that's where we had like my first kiss and that sort of thing. It's a very safe place to have your first kiss and that
Mm,
sort of stuff. But probably not my first proper boyfriend until I was 15.
okay.
Somebody like to bring home to say I have a
A
boyfriend.
boyfriend. Yeah.
So maybe only really a couple of boyfriends, short-term boyfriends, friends from our church, and then my now husband and I grew up together in our
Oh,
church.
so okay, let's talk about that. So you've had little boyfriends, but nothing real serious. You're having a
Yeah,
good upbringing, but you already said, now looking back as an adult woman, we're not putting any fault on
yeah,
anybody, but you already knew that that was already something that it was a little undermining. It's
yeah.
in your subconscious and your nervous system, but and as you get older, it starts really playing effect. Okay, how did you meet your husband?
He asked me out when we were 16, and I said no.
Why?
I didn't fancy him.
You didn't fancy him. You're like,
Didn't
no,
fancy
I'm good.
And my friend told him that I fancied him, and I was like, "What did you even tell him that for? He's the loveliest guy." But he finds this story slightly embarrassing when I tell it. But you know how guys sometimes go through that stage where they're like smaller, and
Yeah.
then like they seem to grow a foot tall in like 2 months, and then
Yes.
they
What just happened?
and they
Yes.
find their body. They're
Yeah.
all like arms and legs.
Yeah. They're just so big.
He was just like, I was like, I don't even know who he is. He's just like turned into this monster thing, and his arms and legs are just everywhere. It was not cool at all. And also, we have an ice rink here just outside Belfast, and I had my own ice skates, and he was wearing rental skates
Oh, that's it. That was it. That was it. How could he? How could he?
at 16. I mean, how could he have the nerve to even ask me out in my bought skates?
Ooh, he was spicy. He's like, ugh, I'm gonna get her.
So that was that, and then we just continue. So we just have our friends. Then he left school at 16 and went to work in the ship in Belfast shipyard. Be very,
Yes.
very common. So he learned his trade there. And I remember I was in my mummy's Bible bookshop working on a Saturday under duress. And he got off the bus, and I just, that like, remember we used to have the Coke ad, and the
Yes.
guy had his like overalls tied around his waist and the white
Yes.
t-shirt.
Yes.
And I just turned my head and I was like, is that Nigel McFarland? I was at the window. Come on in, sure, come on
You're
in.
like, oh, he looks a little, oh, he's changed.
What is going on? I remember telling my friends, I was like, have you seen Nigel McFarland recently? And they're like, Nigel McFarland? What? I'm like, no, where do you see him? Where do you see him?
How old were you when you saw him again? Like, was it like a year later, or like how long? Like how old were you think? I know it's hard to go back.
I don't know. I just think my head was probably up my arse the whole time. I'm not sure. I just think I probably grew up as well. You're just full of hormones, and I probably grew up and probably
Oh
started
my goodness.
thinking of like who would actually be good for me, not
Yeah.
running around the countryside with these,
So
fellas.
what did you do with this Nigel now? What happened?
Well, I was driving and he was not driving. So we
Okay.
don't drive here. So we don't drive here until we can't learn until we're 17. So you're usually nearly 18 before you actually get your license. So
Okay.
I had got my license, and he was not driving yet. He's a little bit older than me. He's 2 weeks older than me. So I was driving. So I just would call around to see if he wanted to go out for a little date here and there, or just not a date, just like, well, we go and get, little takeaway, or we're going to that. So we did that for a few weeks and just kind of hung out and just enjoyed each other's company. And then one night we ended up kissing, and that's the end.
Wow. So Lisa, seriously. So you started with him at like, were you guys still in high school, or you already graduated at this time?
I was at like junior college, and he was already working.
Okay, so you're both in college now. So what age are you guys around this time?
So we'd both turned 18 in the February, and we started going out in March 21st.
Okay. So then, okay, cool. And when you looking back to, did you want to, like, like when you thought about, your future or whatever that is, did you want to get married and have children? Or are you more
All I ever
business?
wanted. No, all I ever wanted, and again, probably programmed a little bit, all I ever wanted was to have a forever love and babies. Was all I ever wanted.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Programmed because she's not very academic and blah, 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 blah. And I had to do a lot of work on that when I went. So like 10 years ago, when I started this whole journey, I had to do so much work on my limiting beliefs around that, because I don't have the degree and I didn't go to university. I had to do tons and tons of work around that,
Right.
But we're nearly there. We're nearly there. I still
Yeah.
have issues. People call me an expert. Shirley, she's still not happy with expert. She relationship coach, that sort of thing. I'm fine. The word expert definitely still gives me not can't sit in that just yet. It'll come.
I call you a relationship code expert because, the knowledge that you have, and not only how you have been able to, and we're going to get into the story right now, but not only have you been able to transform yourself to a certain, like being a certain way, learning and growing, And not only that, like as coaches, I've always believed this too. We are just a couple steps ahead of our client. That's it.
That's all you
That's
have to
how
be.
Yep, we're just a couple steps ahead of our client. But what I find very valuable is that if you're going to work with someone in a particular area of your life, and it could be, relationships, dating, health, just different areas in your life, you know, work with someone that can actually have relatability with you, that or can say, you know what? Oh, I have a perspective because that was me too.
Mhm.
I had to. So the work that I'm teaching now and how I help people is something that I had to apply myself. Something that I had to do myself. And not only that, that you were able to, apply what you learned and really have a different relationship with your husband as as you guys kept going on. Um and have it be in a way that it was effective, like it actually worked for you guys. And
Mhm.
then you apply that with your clients, and then you see success with your clients, doing that work. That's an expert, Lisa. That's what you call an expert. Being able to, yes, being able to do the work first on yourself, get the results, apply it to your clients, and your clients apply it to their relationships. They get the results. Bing, done.
Maybe when I write a book, I'll come back to you and I'll be okay with it. But in the meantime,
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about this. So you're young, you always wanted to get married,
mhm.
and you already realized that from the beginning he was a good guy. You're like, "Okay, that I can tell you right now. This is a decent man, this is a good guy. I fancy him now. I'm into him," and we get married. What happens?
We went together for about 6 years before we got married. We didn't get
Okay,
married straight off the bat. So
okay,
we got married and we had the best time. We just didn't rush to having children or anything. We spent a little bit of time in America actually. My brother lives there, and we had the best time. And we bought our first house when we were about maybe 27, and then we
okay.
had our first daughter when we were 29.
Okay. So you get married, you guys are young, but you were together for about 6 years before you actually got married. And looking back now, during that time, were things pretty good with you guys?
Okay. So before we had children, we were together 11 years before we had
Oh,
children.
11 years. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
we
you
were
guys already
together.
established like
Yeah,
a way with each other for the
yeah,
most part. And how
yeah.
were things overall before you had the children?
Very good. My husband's very relaxed, very laid back. I will always have used the same argument style,
Okay.
but that maybe would have been twice a year. I would have
Okay.
done
Okay.
the stonewalling thing. So it
Okay.
was, it wasn't as destructive as it became. Put it like
Okay.
that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
we can tolerate those things a couple of times a year, that sort of thing. Um, and the children came along, and number one came along. Took us a little while to get number one here, but number two came along very quickly.
Okay.
And I just look back on those times as being really lovely, really, really nice, really lovely times. And just like I look back now, like you're babies yourself, aren't you? I look at pictures and I go, how did you let me at a hospital with a child? Like
I
that's ridiculous.
know. I know. Isn't that fascinating?
And
Yes.
then we took over my dad's business
Okay.
when our first daughter Elise was about 9 months old, and I
Mhm.
was pregnant with Lara. We took over my dad's business, and that was probably the pressure point that built and built and built.
That was the kinda like you said, the turning point, like, when
Yeah,
things really started shifting in your relationship, because now for the first time in your marriage, you guys had a lot on your plate,
a lot of responsibility.
a lot of responsibility, and when we have a lot of responsibility, and like you said earlier, and we don't really have, ways to regulate our nervous system, conflict
And
resolution.
this was maybe 2002. I mean, to think about having a business coach in 2002 like that, So, and I
They
would
didn't
say,
have it, and, like,
didn't
what we're doing now, it wasn't like this before, girlfriend. There wasn't the resources and the help like we have now.
and I'm going to say the first 5 6 years of the business were okay. I wasn't there very much. I was at home with the girls. Then our son came along, And still, I wasn't probably there. I was maybe there once a week, maybe once or twice a week. So Nigel was definitely the lead force there.
Okay.
And that was okay. We probably got into the habit of talking about it too much at home then, but sure, nobody told us that you
What, like,
shouldn't talk
give me an
about it.
example. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
We would come home, we'd get the children to bed, and we would sit down and say, okay, what's going on at work? Who did what today? What happened? How did you handle that? Oh, you see, when I talked to her last week, what I told her was blah, blah, blah. And we would sit and do that till 9 and 10 at night.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
We didn't know.
You didn't know? Of course you didn't know. You didn't know, but looking back, now you realize if we're just talking about, or talking about work, talking about all that, there's really no, and we have so much responsibility right now, and we don't know, right?
No.
Then that's really going to affect your
And Bill.
relationship.
But
And
I always say to people, if Nigel was a plumber or a businessman in some other department or a builder, and he would come home and he would say, oh, do you know what happened today in work? Blah, 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 blah. I would say, as a supportive wife, oh, sweetheart, that's terrible. I can't believe that's happened to you again. What are you going to say? Are you going to say something to them? What are you going to, you know? But our dynamic was he would say, you never guess what happened today in work. And I would say, hold on now. Do you think you handled that well? Do you think maybe I should go tomorrow and deal with that?
oh my God, talking about cutting off his,
Uh-huh.
like his manhood, right? Like what?
Because we couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Same thing.
Yeah.
If I'd have been a nurse or a doctor or hairdresser, and I'd have come home and said blah blah, he would have said to me, "Oh, sweetheart, that's shocking." Why did it? But the same thing. If I had come home from work to him and I was like, "Remember you told me about such and such," but what he was like, Lisa, I told you to do it like X, Y, and Z. Do you know what I mean? It was too entangled. It was too entangled.
Yes, absolutely. This
And,
is
and we
relatable. This is, I mean, the majority of relationships, like I said, you have love there, you have a good relationship, but then they find themselves, life happens, like life gets really busy. And then we realize, oof, oof,
If
we're not really connecting
people ever say to
anymore.
me, people ever say to me, "Oh, we were going to start a business together," I'm like, "Nope, absolutely not." So we now have a business together, and we grew up in the era of Jerry Maguire and Pretty Woman.
Okay.
So we have also been programmed to be codependent on each other. So we're a
Yes.
perfect storm now. We're a
Yes.
perfect storm. I'm nothing. If he's nothing, I'm nothing. If he's upset, I'm upset. If he's happy, I'm happy. He completes me. He is my other half. And now my other half is not behaving in the way that I deem appropriate. And
Oh
I'm his
boy.
other half, and I'm not behaving in the way he deems appropriate. So now we have a perfect storm. We have an absolutely perfect storm.
So now you go from, like I said, marriage was like, okay, we're not bad. Now,
Oh,
wow, for the first time, woo, we are in a storm and things are,
yeah.
woo.
And
How
then my
did that
mum,
start affecting your relationship?
yeah. So then my mummy passed away.
Oh, your
So
mom oh,
his
wow.
work was going to go on as well.
Another layer, another major life. Yep.
Another layer. And so therefore we had no outside support with the children. So now all that time, so from the children were little until our oldest was maybe 14, it was okay.
Okay.
Work was stressful. We had some arguments about it. We had some bad habits about it,
Yeah.
but it was fine. It
It
was
was
fine.
okay.
It,
It was
it
manageable.
was manageable. It was
Okay.
manageable.
Okay.
And we'd have like, okay, we're just not going to do that again. We're not going to do that. And then the two teenagers, and our son was 9 or 10. Uh, and we had a big thing happen in work, a big business situation happen where it's just one of those things in business. It was like things had to change. It's just one of those
Okay.
things. And that was it. Now we are in the weeds. Now we
Okay.
are talking about it all the time now. We are not agreeing about it. I have a certain way that I'd like to do it. He has a certain way he'd like to do it. Our manager at that time it was just another perfect storm came up. And I could see him, let me think of the right word, becoming I could see him changing.
Okay.
I started to not recognize him.
Okay.
I started to see that like a cloud starting to come over him.
Yeah.
So I said, "That's it. We're going to talk." Now this was 6 months of intense
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yes.
That's it. We're going to talk to somebody. And I'd been to therapy. My mum had passed. I went to therapy. I found
You
it very,
did.
very useful.
Okay.
So I said, "We're going to talk to somebody." And he said, "Oh, really? I'm not too sure about that." And I said, "Look, I'm not losing this. And we have to go and talk to somebody." And again, here in Ireland, therapy's not really like, we're not mad for it here. It's getting a lot better, younger generation. But like, I don't know anybody our age who was going to marriage counseling. Like,
No. Wow. Okay. No one was really
there's
putting
nobody.
in that work, right? Yeah. So they were silently either obviously breaking up, getting divorced, or miserable,
Living miserable, which
living
would be my
miserable. Yeah. And
worst
why do we want to do that? Yeah.
my worst nightmare. So we went and talked to her, and the first thing she said was, "You two are not allowed to talk about your business after 6 o'clock at night." And I was like, "I can't do that. I can't. I just don't think I can do that." And she was like, "I don't care. That's what you have to do. Get a notebook, do whatever, scribble it down, blah blah blah." So I did. I just stopped, and we were. It was kind of we ended up laughing some nights because we were like, "Oh,
You're like, I can't. I
yeah,
can't. She told, yeah.
can't do it. Nope. And then I would look at him and I was like, "Don't say it. Don't say it."
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, "If you say it, then I'm going to want to get one back. So just don't say it." So then it left us with, actually, we could talk about the kids at night time. We could talk about nice things. We'd practically forgot to have a laugh. We'd forgot to joke with each other. We'd just, we'd forgot all that. So, sending the kids on off to bed, having the date nights at home, and just rebuilding that connection that we knew we had. It just the fire needed to be, fanned a little bit to get it back.
Plans a little bit to get it back. Do
Yeah.
you feel then at that time, I know you said there weren't a lot of, coaches or therapists or counselors or marriage or any of that, but do you feel now, like looking back, like that was one of the biggest gifts that you guys did for each other, or
I,
no?
I just kept saying, every time driving home, I just kept saying, everyone needs to know this stuff. Everyone
Okay.
needs to know. How do people not know this stuff? And I remember saying one day, how have we even got this far not knowing this stuff? How have we got this far not knowing this stuff? And he would say, yes, sweetheart, absolutely. So little did I know, I think I manifested it for myself. Little did I know that I was putting out there that I want to tell people about this stuff.
Yes, because you had like you said, you had a marriage, and this is what I want people to hear. If you have a marriage and, things can be, like she said, manageable, good for a long time because, life is going to happen and literally things will just go in some waves. Okay. But a healthy marriage should not be toxic. A healthy marriage should not be, we're going to give each other the silent treatment for days. That's not normal. That's not a healthy marriage. But in reality is that's kind of like our default. A lot of us, because we don't have any of these skills. You guys, come on, seriously, we're not learning this stuff. So that's our default. And that's why we're having this podcast. And that's why we're having this show, because we're talking about love and relationships and letting you realize that anything can change if you want it to change. Anybody can change. People can grow. People
I
can
would
mature.
I'll put a caveat on here.
Yes.
I'm not sure that narcissists can grow.
No, well, no, yeah, exactly. So, but anyone can change. Anybody can have, um, learn a different perspective, learn a different way. And the reality is, if that's something that you truly want to do, right? If you love somebody and you're like, okay, I need, I'm open, like you were open and you were excited about learning some stuff. Now, if that person decides not to go inwards and change, that is not a reflection on you. That's a reflection on that person. And that's where we get into, the different personality disorders, like narcissists, personality disorders, all those layers. But it's a really small percentage, believe it or not. It's not as big as the majority of how people use it now. Everyone's
It's
always
a lot of
thinking,
airplay. That's a lot of
right?
air.
Like everyone's constantly thinking, if your husband, excuse my French, if your husband's being an ass that day, we don't call him a narcissist. Like not everyone's a narcissist. But are there actual narcissists out there, 100%. And you can't change a narcissist. Matter of fact, studies have shown narcissists that get professional help, even the professional, because it is a completely different wiring in their brain. Even the professional can only get a narcissist to a certain level. Okay. And that's something that narcissist will continue for the rest of their life, having to do a deep, deep understanding of how they're showing up and how that affects other people. But they almost don't have that little bit of that empathy to really connect that way. So that's a whole other story. But if we have, which I always believe, like the majority of us, we're good people. Majority of us, and I'm not saying, yeah.
And we carry toxic traits into
Yes.
our relationships, and we keep repeating and repeating, repeating.
Yes.
I remember the very first day we went to therapy, I was like, just get up. And I remember messaging saying, okay, it's booked for 4:00. And just him doing that, he's not a narcissist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's now not the problem is, so we went and we were both committed to do the work.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Yes.
People can come to me, but only one is ready to do the work.
Yes.
That's like we have the saying here, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Okay. So if you're not both willing to do the work, that's going to be a problem. But after I give our therapist the silent treatment for the session, and then she said it wasn't it anymore. It was one of my best days. And she said, what are you going to do instead, Lisa? And I'm like, I'm clearly paying you money for you to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Said, I have a suggestion. I was like, oh dear, this is going to be a disaster. And she said, when you want to give him the silent treatment, I want you to ask for a hug. Well, as you can see, I'm still having to self-soothe myself through this. Now, I was standing in my kitchen, as the universe would have it, an opportunity came up very quickly for me to have a little moment. I was standing in my kitchen over there, and I said, can I have a hug? So that was his trigger that she's going to go off. So she'd rather have a hug instead. And I swear I had to walk about 10 steps, but I thought my skin was going to fall off. Now this is a man who maybe 2 nights ago I had done the most intimate acts with.
Yeah.
But today I can't ask for a hug.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally nervous system offline. Okay. Felt like Shirley was, your skin is going to fall off if you're going to give away all your, walked over, got the hug, put the kettle on, made a cup of tea, got it figured out.
I love that. I'm so happy you talked about this hug, and it doesn't work for everyone, but I want to say something, ladies. I really love that Lisa just said this. I truly believe, and this is something I teach my clients, when ladies, listen up. When we feel there's moments that we literally feel we're about to lose our mind. We're going to go crazy. We're going to go crazy. I always believe this with all my heart. Lean in, mama. Like literally get in there. Let your man hug you, because there's something about that energy. There's something about when you're talking about the nervous system that can actually, does it work 100% every time? No, but it does. But you have to be willing to do it. Go and tell them they have to be willing to do it.
It's worth a go. It's absolutely worth a go. Now, there's no point leaning into the hug and then your husband or partner says to you, but you see, if you didn't behave like that, this wouldn't be a problem.
No.
Your husband and partner needs to say, we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out.
It's going to be okay. Yep, we're going to figure it out.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We might not have
I want to piggyback on something you said. Lisa. So when we're talking about right now, we're talking about, like I said, you're in relationships. And if you're listening now and you're thinking, okay, I'm married, I love my husband, but wow, this sounds so familiar to us. Like we've kind of lost, a way with each other. We concentrate, we're kind of bored. We kind of lost a way with each other. We kind of like, bicker at each other. We're kind of like in that stage. I hear you. I truly believe in the end, of course, it takes 2 people to have a relationship. It takes 2 people to show up. It takes 2 people to change the dynamics. But I wholeheartedly believe that it takes one person first to start the work.
And I probably started the work when my mum had passed away.
Yep.
She passed away about a year and I was doing pretty good, but I knew that I was just being, we call it snippy.
Yeah.
Snippy. I knew I was just being irritable. I knew I I knew I just had like, I knew, and we were just bickering over silly that I knew, that I knew. And I went to there, only went about 3 times. And I came home one night and my husband said, now I need to say this very gently. I was like, oh, okay, dear goodness me.
No, he said
Like,
that. He needs to say this very gently.
this very, very gently.
Okay.
But just let me know and I'll transfer some money over. How much is the therapy? And I was like, very good, excellent. I said,
Excellent.
blah, blah, blah.
I love that you're like, excellent.
It's blah, blah, blah pounds. And he said, well, here's the thing, sweetheart. Could we start paying her double? Because it's absolutely working.
Wow.
That was just me going by myself.
Talk about that, what, kind of piggyback on that. Like you just said that you started going by yourself and how your thoughts are when it comes to, a relationship that you said they're having a little struggle, having someone start first. Sometimes, two people are not at the same pace.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, what I learned going there myself, I went there for grief, but I ended up with relationships because relationships are everything. And it was my first little glimpse into, oh, right, if I change, that will change the dynamic.
Yep.
If I just don't say you, that'll change the dynamic. And I think she was the first person that said to me, look, someone has to go. Usually somebody has to go first. Usually it's the woman who goes first. Someone has to go first. But
who usually goes first? Say that again.
Usually the woman.
Yes, usually the woman.
95% of my people come. Well, I'll say them. I'm like, okay, who dragged who here today? And they'll be like, okay, I'm not dragged. The man will be like, okay, I haven't been dragged, but it definitely was her suggestion. Yes. 95%. So she was the first one to say to me, look, if you change, it's physics. If you change something, the dynamics will have to fit. They'll have, my oldest daughter does medicine and she hates me talking about like anything medical or anything science. She will say the wrong words, Mama. You will say the wrong words. I'm like, I know, but sure, it's fine. So it's fine. So law and track, whatever it is. So if somebody changes, it will change the dynamic. And she was the first one to sort of talk to me about that. And she was also the first one to say to me, the best way to change others is for them to see change in you.
Yes.
Instead of pointing finger.
100%. When I said I was married before, looking back now, it was him, it was me. Again, I literally left that marriage, and I left that marriage thinking, oh my goodness, Lisa, I didn't know. I only knew what I knew. I swear, I only knew I knew. But I truly, with all my heart, left that marriage thinking it was all him. If he only can calm down, and if he only can say things differently, and I didn't take any responsibility for my actions. I really didn't. Like, I mean, we both had stuff. And now, when I'm remarried now it is literally night and day. And you know why it's night and day? Because I can see me now. I can see the way I'm showing up, Lisa. I can see, oh my goodness, are you being patient, Charlene? Are you saying words? Like, I say this often to myself, not often, but this is how I used to think about it. Like, when you're going to go have a conversation with your husband, when you're going to go say something to him, truly, Charlene, what is your intentions? What mood are you in? Are you in that little like, you're going to poke a little bit, you're a little irritated with him? Or are you going to say it in a way that, matter of fact, let me just talk about this real quick. I feel like I'm going to be in a therapy session right now, Lisa. Yesterday, oh my goodness, I did it all wrong. And you would think, like, that's what I'm trying to say to you. You would think, oh, Charlene, you should know better. But and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little hormonal right now because as women, Lisa, we deal with hormones, so it depends on, what week we're in, right? So what week we're in, but I'm in that phase right now. So I noticed that I'm a little more edgy. I am a little more edgy. So I need to do that timeout room a little more. But the guy, so I should have given him a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but I think it was, I got caught up and poor guy, like seriously, he usually comes home at a certain time. And he ended up yesterday, which is very different, and it just hurt all my feelings. This is ridiculous, Lisa. I can't believe I'm telling you this, but I'm going to just tell you. I'm confessing right now. So he usually comes home at a certain time. So we kind of like have a routine, blah, blah, blah. And on Tuesday nights, the kids just started school. So Tuesday nights, I just have dinner with like them because usually my husband goes to Bible studies on Tuesday nights. And so he's gone. So it's kind of like my little time with the kids to have dinner. Bible study technically hasn't happened, but kind of over the summer we've been having that little that's kind of his time a little bit and my time with the kids. And we have family dinners on Mondays. So
Mhm.
anyway, so yesterday the guy comes home like later, like a little later. And I called him. I said, "Where are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm at the gym." And I don't say anything. I'm like, "Oh, okay." But
Mhm.
that already triggered me for some reason because I'm like, "Well, why isn't he home? Why didn't he tell me he's gonna be at the gym later?" And I did it so wrong, Lisa. Like, he got home and I was so just oh yeah, I my words, huh?
Snippy.
Yeah, snipping. Well, I really appreciate if you would call me and did you do like I was so sarcastic. I apologize. I'll be honest with you later on. It probably wasn't enough, but but I can see this.
Well,
Even
if
us that get it, we can like
you're allowed, it's okay. We're human. A few
we're
weeks ago,
humans.
a few weeks ago, so in our other business, I still go there a little bit, not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, I need to go and run. I need to talk to Janet about a little thing." And my husband said, "Sweetheart, remember, we need to get lunch before the meeting at 3. So can you please be as quick as you can?" Yes, of course. I'll be 2 minutes. I got into the car 40 minutes later.
Oh, that's me. Oh, how did you handle this one? This is
Oh,
so
wait, no, this is terrible.
oh,
This is
this
really
is
bad.
bad. Okay, this is bad.
He just looked at me and said, "Okay, so there's no lunch now. We'll have to just grab a sandwich and get there for 3. Remember, I said, sweetheart, 2 minutes." And I said, "Don't feel like that. Can we just have a moment of silence? Don't feel like that." So not only am I dismissing his feelings, I'm telling him not to feel them.
Yeah, you're like, "You don't get feelings."
You don't get feelings, and you're certainly going to get in the shower with me.
Even though you
So,
were very kind and you told me what you needed from the beginning, and I just completely blew that off.
absolutely. So he just has a look now, which says, "If you continue like this, you have to retire from your business." And he has a look, and I went, "Oh, oh dear Lord, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Oof." And I wanted to be like in a cartoon that I could just like rewind it. And I said, "Can I just like have that all back?"
Yeah, restart, restart.
Okay. And I tell people this all the time. I'm like, you can say, "Can I get a sec? Can I get a read? Can I get a redo? Or can I get a do-over or something like that?" And I was like, "Okay. 1, sorry about that. 2, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I see how that was really disrespectful, what I said. And also, and then I started to do the whole but, and he was like, "It's okay. Let's just get something to eat because I think when we eat, everything will be, so we ain't gotta get a horrible sandwich and blah, blah." We're human. We get
Yes,
stressed out.
yes.
We get hormonal. Our husbands get hormonal.
It can
Sometimes we
still
don't
drive you
even know,
crazy. Yes, you know what I mean?
sometimes we don't even know we're stressed out. Sometimes we need our partner to say, "Are you okay? You
Yes.
seem to have a lot on your plate." "No, I'm fine. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me." And our partner knows that we're not good before we even know that we're not good. You know, we're just human. We get to ask for a reset, and we get a do over.
I love that. So what you're saying is, if you start listening to this and you're realizing, okay, one of the things that I need to start doing, right, is I need to start first, recognizing why I'm getting worked up. What is my part here? How am I actually, showing up right now? Like what's going on? That to me is so important, right? So even if you have that moment like I had last night, I mean seriously, like Lisa,
Nervous system activated.
my nervous system was anxious. I was very anxious because it was not in the norm, and I'm hormonal. I'm not, and all the levers. I mean, all the things are happening to me yesterday. It was a really strange day yesterday, and so that doesn't mean that you just throw it all away and say, "Ah, this is it." You can. I love how you were able to, pause for a second, be okay. Oh, this is not. Wow. What did just actually come out of my mouth? You guys, listen. We can all do that, right?
Yeah,
We can all
absolutely.
do that. What a beautiful tool. What a beautiful thing because you're never going to be perfect. life is going to happen, but having a realization, and to me, I think, oh, how yummy is that for someone to be humble enough to like even have some humor in it and just say, I'm sorry, I was got a little.
What we talk about is there's going to be ruptures. There's going to be
Yeah,
ruptures. We're all going to do stupid things. We're just going to say silly things. We're going to say stupid things, and we're not lying in our beds at night thinking, "How am I going to annoy them tomorrow?" But stuff's going to happen.
stuff's
Okay,
gonna happen.
we're going to say silly things, or something's going to irritate us, or a behavior is going to annoy us. Okay, so we have a rupture. We have to learn to sit in the emotional tunnel to repair. We all jump out of the emotional tunnel with toxic behaviors.
Yes.
Gotta sit in that. If you're in that emotional tunnel and you do get triggered, you're allowed to say pineapple, burnt toast, give yourself 10 minutes and then you come back. And if you are with a man and he says to you burnt toast and he goes to his man cave, for the love of all that is wholesome in the world, do not follow him to his man cave.
Hallelujah.
Sacred time for him. You don't get to knock on the door. You don't get to offer him a beer. You don't get to do anything. He's allowed to be in his man cave, and you just do your thing. Go for a walk, ring your friends, do whatever you need to do.
Fantastic.
The women who follow their men to the man cave and they message me and they go, I did it again. I'm like, I've told
I
you.
told
Not
you.
I think the fear is that they're not going to come back from the man cave.
Yeah.
Right. So if I was talking to a guy, I'd be like, you're allowed to go to your man cave, but you must say, I do want to get to the end of this. I just need to regulate myself.
Yes.
I am coming back. We are going to get to the end of this,
Yes. And you do, like, when you're going to set something up like that, that is such a great way to do it. But you have to, when you set it up, have those boundaries. Okay. So, baby, when I say this word or when you say this word, I mean, that is a hard stop. But I love that you said, but for women to be able to also have that work for them, the man has to truly fall through, meaning have his time, right, Lisa? Go to his man cave, but he has to be able to come back at a certain time or whatever the agreement is.
We have to feel secure in our bodies that that's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. For
Yes.
us, it's a very visceral feeling. I will tell you this last one to finish.
Okay.
At one time during COVID, our daughter suggested that she would go to a hot tub party at her boyfriend's house, but they were going to social distance in this
Oh,
hot tub party.
okay.
Well, this was another one of these times when words came rolling out of someone's mouth, and if I had had a time machine, I would just put them back in. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I knew that my husband had had a very stressful job, a very stressful day. And you know how teenagers just announce these things, totally
Yes.
oblivious the rest of the world's happening. And
Yes.
I literally, again, back, my world must just revolve around cartoons for something. I literally, the cartoon when the steam comes out of somebody's ears.
Yes.
I looked at her like, really, right this second, you couldn't have run that past me first because I'm just here all day
Yeah.
doing nothing. You can run that past me.
Yeah.
It announces at the time when you looked at her, looked at him, I could literally see the smoke coming out of your ears. He just stood up very gently. He went over to the sink. He put his plate away. And he said, I'm out of here. And I went,
Oh, Lordy.
it is COVID. So where are you going to go to? I didn't say that. I just said, I'm out. I am out. And I went, okay. So he went on his bike. He cycles. So he went on his bike.
On the bike. He actually went out. He's like, I'm literally out of here. Yeah.
Like I can't. Like my nervous system is
Yeah.
beyond me. I'm out.
You're on
I'm
your
out.
own, girl. Yep.
Beautiful. It was a beautiful day here. And I remember sitting, I was out on the patio and I remember sitting and I remember thinking, if this was years ago, I would have been having a moment to myself and I would have known when he came back in, I would have then gone off on one. So
Yep.
it's just like fuel to the fire. And our daughter said, that didn't go well. I said, no, it did not go well. And why didn't you tell me, blah, blah. And I said, but I know this. Your daddy will come back and we will work this out.
That's cool.
And that's
really
what our
cool.
kids need to know.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really cool. 'Cause
He was,
that's the foundation that you guys finally started building.
yeah,
You
he was
started,
away
like
he was away for all of 10 minutes, it
yeah,
wasn't like
of course, he's not like he didn't get on a plane and take off for days.
and he walked in and he walked in the back went through the garden, through the man cave, onto the bike back into the man cave, walked on into the garden and said, "Can I get a restart?" And I went, "Yes, you can. You
You
absolutely
can.
can.
Oh,
You
that's
can
fa oh, you're like
get
Lisa,
a."
so let me ask you this. I know, I mean, wow, what a great conversation we're having today. Let me ask you something. For the listeners right now that are really resonating with our conversation, what a great conversation about, like, relationships and how relatable this is. It's so relatable for a lot of us, like, all of us in general, we're in relationships, and, let's just say again, you're not with an actual narcissist, which is rare, but yes, if
This
you
is
are, you
this
can't
is
fix
advice
them.
this is advice for people who are in healthy, respectful relationships. This is advice for them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. This advice for them. So, hearing this now, what would you say? What advice would you give women, um, just to start out? Just to start out, if they are noticing that their relationship too is not in alignment. They're having more arguments. They're not
Here's what we
really
know.
connecting.
Here's what we know. Here's what we know. We must take the word "you" out of our vocabulary.
Okay.
We must spend 90 minutes a week talking about good, important stuff, not who is getting milk and what's happening with the kids.
Okay.
Really good life stuff. We must have a date a week. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go out. That just means you put the kids to bed or you tell the kids to go on upstairs and you and they have a date, eat together by yourselves. You maybe watch and play a game. Blah, blah. You must be kissing every single day for 6 seconds. And if you cannot kiss every day for 6 seconds, you must hug for 20 seconds. That's what the research tells us. I will add on because somebody tells me I'm an expert.
Okay.
I will
Lisa's the expert. Exactly.
I will add on. I don't like technology in the bedroom.
Okay.
I don't like technology in the bedroom. I don't think any good sex happens after you've been scrolling on Instagram.
That's true.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't I don't see it working well from my practice. I don't see that working well. So
Distraction. It's a big distraction, Lisa.
it's yeah, and I also don't think it's good for you to be on your phone and then turn over and go to sleep.
No.
I will also say you must invest in your sex life. It is a twofold situation. We get the healthy conflict and we invest in our sex life. Okay. Everybody thinks that people are having sex 3 times a week. In the UK and Ireland, the data tells us that couples are having sex on average 3 times a month. Okay.
Okay.
So
I
once,
thought you were gonna say 3 times a day. I'm like, "Oh, no."
no, exactly. But we get this all up in our head.
It's
So
ridiculous. We think no, you're right. I love that you said that. Like, all these other couples are thinking, "Oh, they're probably having sex all the time.
hanging off the chandeliers.
They're
No, okay.
hanging out," but that's not real.
Having,
That's not true.
generally, we're having sex once a week. So I know people work shift work. I know there's things like that. But if you're working normal ish hours, try to carve out some time at the weekend to make love to your person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love
On
that.
average, they tell us that the average sex session lasts between 2 and 19 minutes.
Oh.
Okay. So again, we don't have to have 3 hours. We're talking about carving out 15, 20 minutes, half an hour would be great.
Oh my goodness. So when you put it in that perspective,
Once a week.
that's so good.
Okay. All right.
That's so good. Even like you said, even if it's 3 times, but quality, good
Connection.
20, 30 minutes connection.
And what we also want is during the week to keep what we call, I didn't make this up. She calls herself, she's actually called the sex doctor. It's hilarious. What we call sexual currency. Now, not currency like money, currency like electric currency. So we want to have that kissing, the hugging,
Okay.
the tickle, the maybe we pat on the bum, if you've seen these reels on Instagram, like every time a woman goes to empty the dishwasher or put her fake tan on, then her husband is all over her.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
annoying, but it's
Yeah.
sexual currency. It's those wee
Yes.
texts that say, I really loved that on Friday night whenever we did blah, blah, blah. It's
Yes.
just what makes you not roommates. Okay. Keeping that alive, so important.
Oh, I love that. That to me, you saying that today about, we talk about conflict, we talk about this, we talk about that. But in the end of the day, we are in a romantic relationship. We're not supposed to be in a platonic, just friendship relationship. That
And
connection is
and
huge.
why is it the person that we're doing the most intimate acts with gets the worst of us?
Correct. They need to get the best, Lisa.
Yes, ma'am. And maybe we're giving to our parents and our work and our kids, and that's all very admirable. But if you are giving, 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 and you're not keeping anything in your tank for your relationship, got to we look at that.
You got to look at that.
Okay.
And I
All
truly,
relationships do that for a little while. Illness, sickness, stress, redundancy, da 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 da. All relationships can cope with that for a matter of weeks, but that was us. It wasn't a matter of weeks. It was turning into months. And
right.
that's us.
And
No.
that's not, yeah. And there's nothing more amazing, nothing more healing, nothing more beautiful when you truly have that connection with your significant other. When you are good with yourself and you're like, okay, I've done some healing, I've done some, understanding of how I show up and who I am. But not only that, I've been able to apply that and have this really cool, great, fun, loving, exciting, sexual, passionate, all the things that we look for in a romantic relationship
And
because
that
it's
all
possible.
needs nurtured.
It needs to be nurtured. You need to take care of it. You need to put, I love how you're talking. You need to put the time in it. You need to put the effort in it. It's important. That's how something grows. Really, truly, that's how something grows when you water it, you
And
know?
I think at the beginning of the relationship, it all happens very naturally because
Yes.
of spontaneous desire. But spontaneous desire will only last maybe as little as 4 months, but definitely not more than 18 months. And once spontaneous desire ends, we must move to responsive desire. And responsive desire needs nurturing.
Beautiful. Wow. How do they get in your world, Lisa? Like, seriously, tell us what you do. How can people, work with you? How can they just connect with you?
Well, they can just follow me on Instagram.
Oh,
So it's relationship.coaching.ni because I'm here in Northern Ireland. Or you can go to the website, relationship coach NI, and you can just reach out to me, DM me, email me, whatever you want. I am taking, tomorrow is my last day. I'm taking the rest of the summer off. My lover and I are going to Portugal for a few
oh,
nights. And then my children are all home from university. So I just want to make sure I have time for them and nurture all those relationships before they all head back to uni again. But DM me, you can book. My booking site is there. My mentorship program is my favorite. It's 3 sessions, and then you get my online course. You get to connect with me. You get to ask me in between set. That's my favorite one. It's for couple. I made it for couples, but I have people who come by themselves.
yep.
Um, and then they do the online course with their partners. That works very well. So yeah, all good.
Wow. No, you guys, did you hear that? Get into her world. Like, seriously, she is an expert. I don't know what she's thinking, but I'm telling you right now, she's a
I also
badass, actually.
I also give out lots of free stuff on Instagram, obviously, as we all do.
Okay,
But
yeah, so she has follow her. Follow her on Instagram, get some of her free resources, get into her world, let her get your email so she can send you some good stuff. All the things, all the things. Lisa, how is your relationship like now with your man, with your lover? What is
well,
life?
it's really it's changing again. And Esther Perel, who I am in love with, Esther Perel and Bernie Brown. I think I might be in love with them both.
I'm in love with them
Esther
both. Aren't they just brilliant women?
can't cope.
Yeah.
And they are my best friends. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Esther Perel talks about, like, you will have different, most of us will have 3 long-term relationships in our life. Some of us will have it with the same person. So we are definitely entering another time now. The 2 girls are away at uni, and our son is this his last couple of years now at school. But he's out with his friends more. He has his own little girlfriend. So there's lots of nights we're having dinner here by ourselves, and
Nice.
yeah. So we're just that next stage, and it's just so much calmer. And it's just so
Yeah.
much easier, so much easier, and so much even more patience for each other because you've just time. You have time.
You have time
But
now.
it's
Right.
beautiful. It's
And
beautiful.
ladies, and for like, and this is what I'm doing this show too, because for those ladies that are single
Yep.
and, they're listening to this and they're like, wow,
Yep.
okay. There's no perfect anything, you guys. I'm just telling you right now. But it really, truly, in the end of the day, it really does matter who you choose.
Yeah.
It really matters who you choose to marry, to be your lover. It's a person that you get to choose because not everyone's going to have alignment. So if you are listening today and you're single and let's say you were married before, but you didn't have, the best of luck. Like things just didn't work out. I
Yeah.
want you to know that love is still available.
Mhm.
It's there. There's a lot of things that, we can do, in the meantime. Do you have any suggestions for those single ladies that are like, "Oh, Lisa, this is
For the
really
single
touch."
for the
Yes.
single ladies, I would go on your own self-development journey. Know your enoughness. Work on loving and accepting yourself because
Nice.
why are you out there looking for love and acceptance if you're not doing it for yourself first?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, I love that. Oh, Lisa, thank you so much. I mean, what a treat this was today. Thank you for all your wisdom. Thank you for your funny stories. And no, it was
My
just
poor,
a I
my poor husband getting thrown under the bus.
oh, he's not under the bus. We adore him. He's a great guy. No, that is just so cool. I love that you were able to, give us some stories, but I love the sense of humor in it too. Because
Yeah.
I think, a lot of times we get too serious. Like, you know what? Like a lot of this stuff, actually, we need to lighten up.
Yeah.
We like to lighten up a little bit. We don't have to be so serious and have a
Mhm.
little fun. Have a little fun with yourself. Look at yourself in a way you're like, oh lordy, you know.
Oh, couldn't
Yeah,
believe it.
don't bring. You don't have to bring that in. That
Yeah.
intenseness all the time to relationship.
Mhm.
Lighten up. Everyone
Mhm.
needs to lighten up a
I
little
think
bit.
that definitely comes with age.
Yep.
That definitely comes with age and security and all that sort of stuff.
You
You
get
can
to
have
lighten up a little bit, relax a little bit, Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, you're amazing. Thank you for being such a great guest, and I can't wait till this episode's out. But until next time, cheers to great love. That's a wrap. Wow. I just love this conversation that I had with Lisa today. I loved her authenticity, her humor, and how she helped us with a framework to look inwards and understand that we all can grow, that we can learn the tools to regulate our nervous system. And it truly takes one person to start. One person to start the shift, to give the other person in the relationship an opportunity to see the changes and also want to make changes. Wow. That's what truly it takes to have an amazing relationship because it's actually available to all of us. If you're loving this podcast and these incredible conversations, please hit the subscribe button and leave a 5-star review. Don't miss an episode because each week I'll be bringing on guests and experts who will share their knowledge about love, dating, and relationships so you can apply it into your own life. I'll see you next week. And until then, cheers to great love.